All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Droppin'Baums with me, your host, Corey Baumeister. Today, we're going to be bringing you another trophy match here. I absolutely love this series. I hope you enjoyed a little bit as well. Probably my favorite ones to make because, well, you know, it's a little celebration when you get to 4-0. You know, it means I'm going to be bringing one of these videos, one of these matches to the YouTube channel. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, today, modern, but not breach. I've decided to, you know, try to get deck number 2 in my repertoire before we go, before we get the new set, essentially. And, you know, I've still really loved Jeskai Breach. I think it's great. But to be honest, you know, I mean, in the end, Magic is a game. And whenever you are not enjoying it enough, you do worse. And for me, just Breach has been just getting a little boring, you know, plain and simple. Just been getting straight a little bit boring. So I maybe haven't been doing as well as I have been when I've been really enjoying the deck. So I think it's time for me to get and branch out a little bit, try some other decks. There's a couple I got on my radar, but this was the number one for me. When I saw Aspiring Spike, all credit to Mr. Spike. I absolutely love that dude. Just makes every deck that I love, you know, like, I truly wish I could be as good of a deck builder as Aspiring Spike. You know, I'm an Aspiring Spike, but not an Aspiring Spike to be a Spike in a tournament. I'm Aspiring Spike to be an Aspiring Spike. Whoa. No, I love how he approaches the game. I love how he, you know, builds these really cool decks, builds these shells, you know, that a lot of people enjoy, especially, you know, modern players, you know, Modern Pioneer, definitely the place to go. So all credit to Spike for this list. Took the deck list card for card. I've since made a lot of changes, including cutting Ledger Shredder, which I know is basically a mortal sin in Aspiring Spike territory. So I know he won't agree with the changes that I've made, but if you want to check out those changes and you want to follow along with this deck's journey, join the Patreon. It's below. Appreciate all the support in there. That's going to be my focus for the next at least 2 or 3 weeks, is focusing on getting this deck down. Then I'm going to get Jeskai Breach down. And I think I'm going to play this deck and Breach. I'm going to play 2 decks at SCG Indy because there's 2 separate modern events. And I'm going to try to get a sideboard guide in for both of them. Not 100% if it's going to be this, but this was my first 4 matches with this deck. So I'm feeling pretty good. So enough about the intro to this. Let's talk about the deck itself. It's Grixis Death Shadow. If y'all remember this deck, of course, was everything. This deck was the cat's meow when Lurrus was around. The Lurrus ban changed the deck and killed the deck way more than I thought it would. But man, truly, Lurrus was the card. Whenever you got to play Lurrus, then bring back a Shadow, and they had to kill Lurrus and then deal with Shadow after a game was already attritioned off, you just like won so many games that way. You also got to Lurrus Dress Down. Oh, I could start talking forever about the Lurrus Shadow deck. You know, another deck that Spike built. And I ended up taking it and making some changes, and I'd like to think made that deck pretty good. Fine-tuned it quite a bit, and ended up getting banned. You know, that was one of my proudest moments in Modern, as I was definitely at the forefront of getting that deck banned. And, you know, I, once again, not at the forefront of Jeskai Breach, but one of the players who is maybe had some good results that probably is going to get Underworld Breach at some point. Let's get real. It's popping up in too many decks. So speaking of Underworld Breach, this is kind of the innovation that Spike had, was playing Breach instead of Kroxa, any other graveyard stuff. And while I love Kroxa, I truly do, so I don't even know if Underworld Breach is better, to be honest. But I do think it leads to some really messed up things, and it leads to some really degenerate turns. Plus, you know, Breach with 2 other lands, double bolt you kind of thing can definitely be GG as well. Other than that, our mana base looks very similar. I have since added a 19th land as well. And yeah, like I said, cut the shredders for some changes. Some changes overall. I put some dress downs to the main. I played some fables in the main. And tried some stuff out. Other than that, our creature spread is DRC, Ragavan, and Death Shadow. This is the core of the deck. You know, these 3 1-drops are all phenomenal. You know, Death Shadow is the only one that's kind of survived into the Modern Horizon era, the modern era, if you will, as just an incredibly powerful card that's tough to kill. And right now, I'm looking at this deck, and the reason that I'm getting so excited about playing this deck, I look at the top 2 decks. Murktide Hammer, I think I can beat both of them. You know, I think with enough dress downs on the board, hammer becomes quite easy. You know, I even added an EE, some other tricks like that to make that matchup really good. And then hammer, you know, or I mean, then Murktide, a big Death Shadow is very tough for them to deal with. Now, granted, they play a lot of lightning bolts since we used to play this matchup. You know, Death Shadow versus Murktide. I always thought it was favorable for Death Shadow, but not by like a ton. But now the deck has changed a little bit where it just plays, you know, 4 bolts, 4 unholy heats. That's going to be better against us. So I don't know for sure if this is going to beat Murktide. It's not one of the decks I've played against. But yeah, we're going to play this. I'm not going to go into any more detail on the decks, but yeah, I played like Hammer, Black White Grief. God, I totally forgot. I forgot the rest. There was one other real deck. Let me double check while I got you here. Yeah, Black White Grief, Cruel Shamans, and then Is It Prowess. So played some real decks, some not real decks, and we're just gonna get into it and try to get ourselves a trophy. So let's do it. All right, so it looks like we're gonna be on the draw for this trophy match with an absolute banger. Elk Mirror, it looks like, but that doesn't really narrow it down. Chiganto's been popping up in a lot of decks, but not a chance. I'm gonna mulligan this. Okay, let's battle. It's been a while since I've done a trophy match, y'all. I'm looking forward to kicking up content here again in January. December was a nice light month for me, but I'm really excited to get back to it. So, all right. So now what do we want to do? We have all the options available to us. I think Dashing Ragavan is going to be the last one. And, you know, I'm not going to play Death Shadow, so we're going to take those two off the table. So now it's DRC or Thoughtseize. And just kind of want to map out our next turn. It would help if we knew what we're up against, but Zagoth Triumph could kind of be anything. I'm sure there's something I'm thinking it could be, but I'm not really sure right now. I guess, yeah, this is a Ren land. Ren is possible with this. You just go fetch land red source, and I don't want that to happen. So if I don't want that to happen, I should just fetch that out. I'm going to take the max amount of damage here getting Blood Crypt. Similar to when we played this deck before, Blood Crypt's always the first land you want. That hasn't changed. Let's see what's up. Okay. So it is Zoo. I've actually struggled with this matchup quite a bit. So, well, they can play this next turn, right? Almost assuredly. Yeah, this can cost 2, so I do not want that to happen. So this was a good Thoughtseize. And honestly, Ragavan's not really going to be getting in there, it looks like. So yeah, I just take the Draco and hope I can deal with that Kavu. That Kavu is going to be large too. But Death Shadow will eventually be bigger than it, and we should be okay. Shredder I essentially cut from the deck. This would have been Dress Down. This would have been Dress Down. That hits this, right? Yeah. This would have been Dress Down in my new configuration. Or Fable, to be fair. I'm just, you know, calling that it would have been the Dress Down instead. But I think both would have been better, to be honest. All right, so that is a 5/5. Now, as far as what I want to play next, they probably have nothing. So it's either Shredder go. And Shredder, I could play the Watery Grave, which is kind of nice. So then I can drop a bunch of creatures next turn. DRC is not that good, and Ragavan is. So yeah, I'm actually gonna go with Shredder, even though I'm not in love with it. I mostly just want to discard DRC instead of play it. And with this, checking our graveyard, or they're probably going to discard. That makes sense. Okay. So I know they're 3 cards, because they just played the wrong land, essentially. This is going to put us in shadow range. I'm going to discard either Heath or Foothills, I imagine. I've lost to this deck a decent amount, y'all. I actually think it's quite good. So this will make these 5/5s. 7/7s if I do this, which I definitely will. Wow, okay. It's pretty good. But I think it's just going to be creature o'clock. Like, play everything. I'm going to play DRC. DRC. We're really close to Tribal Flames lethal, so we do got to try to end this game quick. But 1 mana 7/7s will do that. They do tend to end the game rather quickly. Nice stubborn denial there, bud. Yeah, so our Unholy Heat is off anyways. As we walk through the Valley of the Shadow of Death once again, we are rejuvenated. We feel no pain. Well, we're on a little bit of a lull, y'all. Kind of the plan for this month is a lot of modern content to be bringing to the YouTube and Patreon and Twitch. While we get ready for SCG Indy, that's going to be my next tournament. So that's going to be the major focus. Ooh, is this Leylines binding? Kind of not great. Because if they draw another one, then we're just actively pretty dead. But yeah, that's going to be our focus. And then after that, next month, it's going to be Pioneer and Limited, getting ready for PT1. So, going to be my next amount of time. Oh, just a Dramoka's command? That's okay. What did they select for their modes? Counter and fight, I guess it has to be. Okay, so it's a 6/6, which is really no big deal. Still dies to Unholy Heat if we get the D. Okay, so we know they drew that. We know their hand. And they don't want to buy Gigante. Well, unless I draw a land or a fetch land or a bolt or something, I can't attack all in. A drowned is pretty good. Yeah, a drowned is insane. Because I can drown it, and then they're going to stubborn denial it, and then that'll give me the instant for Unholy Heat. Okay. Black, blue. Bang. Because I know they're hound. They have not put that Wooded Foothill anywhere. Here's that. And I can attack for 14. I love me some Shadow, y'all. I love it. Honestly, I'd be shocked if this wasn't one of the 2 decks I bring to Indy. I want to mix it up, just like I said, just for fun purposes. But I'd be shocked if this deck... But I also want to win. You know, there's plain and simple, I want to win the game. All right, dress down for that card is good enough. Nothing else is good. I've since cut a lot of these cards. Invasive Surgery, Pithing Needle. I found no use for those cards. I think the sideboard... I wouldn't say janky because it's not janky by any means, but a lot of cards that don't make a lot of sense to me that I need to be enlightened on. Pithing Needle being one of them. Maybe y'all can help me of, you know, what we're really afraid of with that. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Alpine Moon, get it. You know, Urza Saga, pretty nice. I like 1. I think I kept 1. Invasive Surgery, pretty good one. Pretty good one. Yeah, this one I can see. I think I changed it to a dispute, but I don't even remember anymore. It was late. All right, so Shredders, I think I want to just take out because I've taken them out in my normal deck already, so I kind of just don't want to even test with them. Plus, they're not good in this matchup. They've been not good in a lot of my matchups, for what it's worth. Lightning Bolt is also lacking. But they still have, like, Ragavan and stuff, so I do still got to actually be pretty protective, so I'm going to keep that. I guess DRC is just okay. Could take out a Breach, I guess. They are pretty fast. Breach is kind of slow in this deck. It is just like a turn 4 or a later card. Or if I draw a Bobble and I really start milling myself, but I'm still not sold on Breach in the deck for what it's worth. But I do think just the shell is good again right now. You know, a lot of things that made it bad. 4-color was one of the main things that was a little tricky with this deck. I think. I don't know why Death Shadow actually went away now that I'm thinking about it. That's like a cop-out answer is, now that 4 colors out of the mix, that this deck is better again. But I don't know why it became bad. I really don't. Which is usually a good reason why it's still good. So this is going to be our work for a while because I do love this kind of shell. All right, another banger hand. Look at this masterpiece. Obviously, these are a lot of cards that are just in Jeskai Breach, but, still, I think Grixis colors are aesthetically pleasing to me. Y'all are like, God, you're a psychopath, Corey. You're just weird. Put down the Grixis cards. Stop loving Shadow so much. And I say never. All right, well, with no play, I think it's Regavan o'clock. It's probably going to die, but if they were to just go, Triome into Cyana Draco and I have the Terminate, that would be huge. I do wonder if Croxa's still good, though. I kind of think it's not, but Croxa did make up a lot of game plans for the deck. And when I add Fable, I think Croxa gets a lot more interesting. Might be a one-of for me. I don't know about Breach yet. Ooh, a boltable target? Don't mind if I do. Yeah, I forgot about that. This is a good reason to keep this in, too. Cannot cast that. See what they're gonna play. Oh god, that's a great dress down target, so I'm going to do this. You got a big Kavu. What do you want to do with it? Please play it. That would be awesome. Oh, this is glorious. Absolutely glorious. There you go. Doomblade, draw a card. No big deal. Just Doomblade, draw a card. Attack with Regavan. My hand is completely broken. Okay, so I'll have 3 types that'll make it 6 less. Yeah, I don't have 6 mana. Okay. Red, blue, iteration time. Another Drown in the Lock is fine. And I might as well take the best duel. Play that. Say go. Now we just protect. Now that we have 2 drowns, we're just going to protect Regavan at all costs. But at what cost? I guess we can't even counter a Leyline's Binding, so... Protection, hexproof from monocolored. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I just want to counter this, right? Hexproof from monocolored. So I can still drown it at any point. Black, red. I'm just going to drown it. Counter it. Okay, second Regavan for insurance. That's not bad. We are just completely eviscerating them to get this trophy. Alright, I'll play that. Green. Brawler. Don't need this. Untapped. I can still, like, double Tribal Flames me or something. Double Tribal Flames Gut Shot. That would feel bad. Guess I even have that under lock. Sign of Draco is a 12 drop, so I can't do anything about that right now, but I can terminate it. I guess, are they going to try to... They're going to try to Stubborn Denial it. And if so, I should wait till my turn. Probably. But I might want to Dress Down now. Maybe bait out the card. I doubt they'll do anything, but yeah, all right. Because I don't want to Terminate now, get it countered, and then I can't drown it. That's the worst case scenario. So I'm going to go to my turn, terminate it, be able to drown the Stubborn Denial, and I still don't think, you know, I can lose. And we got that as a little, and that's just double bolts too. That's pretty good. I guess. No, they're not quite dead to a land, but whatever. We're going to do this play. Red, black, terminate. Counter that. Getting some damage, and now the breaches will be lethal. And man, look at all this gas we had in the tank. We had so much gas in the tank. I will say Leyline's Binding is much better against us than it was against Jeskai Breach, though, without having wear tears and stuff like that. So that is one thing. Although I just don't think the Leyline's Binding decks are that good, you know? All right, so they should be dead to the Breach, which is pretty sick to showcase this deck. All right, well, here it is. I got a couple lightning bolts. I got 3. Probably not enough to cast all 3, but definitely enough to cast 2. Is all you need. All right, land. I'd like to bolt you. All right, well, that's a trophy. That was an easy one too. Man, I mean, if there's no bigger sign that it's meant to be that I'm supposed to play some more Grixis Death Shadow once again, then immediately 5-0ing with the just straight list that Spike started with, I don't know what bigger sign there is. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for checking out. Oh, I guess while I'm here, I will just kind of show you what I had in mind for the next one here. Grixis Shadow, the version that I was thinking. So this is what I was thinking to start. As a bit of a change from the thing. A lot of cards that I'm questionable about here. Plenty of them. You know, my watch list for anybody who has kept an eye on that. There's plenty of things that I'm keeping an eye on, but this is where I want to go next. Even if I didn't 5-0 this, I was still going to continue working on this because it felt great. The building blocks are here. You know, plenty of nonsense cards. Kato Shizuki, I don't think is an actual Magic card, but I want some kind of 3-drop like that. You know, there is a world where I splash for Teferi again. I've done that before in this deck, and that always ends up being pretty interesting. So yeah, I just kind of thought of that. That might be awesome. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you all checking out a trophy match, even though the YouTube content has been a little inconsistent. It's going to ramp up here in January. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next video.